Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 185. We're your hosts, Phil and Daeron. Today is Thursday, November 7th, 2019. I'd like to say welcome to everyone out there.
Support for this podcast is brought to you by our patrons and Twitch subs. Would you like to support the podcast? Become a Twitch sub today and find out more at patreon.com/NoGutsNoGalaxy. Good day to you, sir.
How are you doing, Mama Bear? How are you feeling?
I'm much better now. Coffee is, I think, the medicine.
Is that, so for those that may not know,
I'm eternally sick.
Your daughter is killing you.
Attempting. It's a school. I told you last week, right?
Yeah.
The school notice. Yeah. The school's like, if you're sick, you still come to school, and that's basically the rules now. But
do you feel like that's, well, it's not rule. They can't enforce it if your kid doesn't go.
No,
it's not a.
We don't give a rip if the school is mad at us when we hold her, at home.
So we're just calling because your daughter wasn't at school today. Well, yeah, she's sick. Well, was she running a fever over 99 degrees? It's like, no, you don't. You don't get to say that. Yeah.
It used to be, this is our third child. It used to be that we were like, oh man, we want to keep everybody happy all the time. But at this point in our lives, we're like, we're going to do what we want and we don't care.
Yeah.
So, whatever. It is what it is. But everybody's been sick. We've had at least 2 sicknesses come through the house, if not 3. My wife is sick today. She's super sick. So I had to do a little bit more of the morning routine or whatever. But it's, it is what it is. I'm feeling better, and that's what I'm going to focus on right now.
Well, I guess that's good that you're feeling better. I'm sorry that your you're like, oh darn babe, that sucks. I know how that feels. She's like, bleh.
Exactly.
Oh man, jeez, yeah. It's like every single
time.
How
are you doing?
I'm fine. Like apparently, keep that shit over there. I'm just saying, like that's the.
You don't have like the dog flu or anything like that you're getting from Brownie.
So I had a pretty eventful. So I had something weird happen. Sort of.
Yeah.
Not really. So, okay. So as guys, we tend to be pretty stubborn when it comes to things, and certain things like, or at least maybe it doesn't have to do with being a guy. Maybe it's just like, for me, if something weird or if you get hurt or whatever, you give it a few days, right? Like for instance, your arm hurts after playing a sport. It's probably because you overworked.
Dude, I'll go ahead and say most guys will completely avoid taking care of anything till they absolutely have to.
But I'm not like that generally.
You're not like that.
I'm generally I'm of the nature of, if something isn't right, I'll give it a few days.
Preventative.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I'll be the first one like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Well, months ago, on the side of my neck right here, I'm feeling it right now. You have a lymph node there, but I can't really feel it on the other side. So it's very, anyways, if you can feel it, it's a little swollen. Well, a few months ago, I noticed the lymph node on my neck was swollen, like not like raw, like like a gobstopper sort of thing, but like big enough to where, hey, that's not normal. And it was the only thing that was like that. There was nothing else going on. I wasn't sick or anything, but it went away. Not a biggie, not the end of the world, so I just assumed, whatever. Well, 2 weeks ago, I noticed it was a lot larger and I didn't have anything going on. So it was after my race. So I think, I thought, well, I just had a race. My knee got scraped up. Anytime you have an outward, injury, even if it's like as simple as scrapes or cuts or whatever, your body is your antibodies and stuff get out of whack, whatever. So I was like, okay, well maybe that's what it is. I'll give it a few. Well, I told that to, my wife had no idea. So I told her and she sort of freaked out and she's like, you need to go get that looked at. And so I was like, you're right. I was like, it's okay. So anyways, come Friday, I called the VA hospital here. We have the one in Durham, and it's like, hey, you can talk to a nurse. So I talked to a nurse, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And she's like, well, just come down to the ER. She was like, the only bad thing is you may have to wait a little bit. Bring a book. So I brought a book, and they got me in really quick. I got blood work done. The doctor was like, look, this is probably not a big deal. You're young. You look like you're in shape. She's like, but I don't want to take any risks, so we'll do some things. And she did blood work. She did a CT scan, and I got chest X-rays. And the CT scan was actually pretty cool. I'm like so much of a nerd when it comes to stuff. Like when my wife was getting her, she had her thyroid, her right thyroid. She had a cyst that was benign, but we got it removed because it was impeding. Like she could feel it when she swallows, sort of thing. It wasn't nice. It was the size of a golf ball. It was bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a base. It was massive, but you couldn't tell. Yeah. And I remember they were doing the needle into her neck to like drain it, and I'm watching like the X-ray what's going on. I'm like, babe, look at this, it's so cool. And she's like, really? Like right now you're gonna be geeking out? And I'm like, yeah, that's. Anyways, the CT scan was pretty cool because they do this.
So center torso scan, huh?
Yeah. So they inject you with this contrast. It's like a dye. It basically lights up your I guess your lymphatic system and all that. And how my mom basically said, it's if you have any type of cancer, it basically lights up like a Christmas tree because it has to do with the cancer cells. You get a lot of glucose and blah, blah. Anyways, science and all that. So they did the CT scan, and when they inject the contrast, they warn you ahead of time, like, hey, it's going to feel really weird. It's going to feel like a hot flash. You're going to feel something in the back of your throat, in your groin, in your stomach. It's going to be weird. You're not pissing yourself, but it may feel like you are. And I'm like, all right.
Nice.
Like, that's a party line I've never heard before.
Yeah.
So they first do a scan without it, and then they come out and they start the injection, and sure enough, back of your throat, and the next thing you know, you're down unders and stuff, and it feels like you're pissing yourself. And it doesn't last very long, but they do a few scans, then I go over and get X-rays, and then it was anyways, long story short, I'm healthy. Nothing was out of the ordinary. It's just for whatever reason, it's swollen for whatever reason. So anyways, I have another checkup next month with my primary care physician. So I'm sure
the good news is you don't have cancer.
I don't have cancer.
On top of that, you started Harry Potter.
Yes. And I know what it's like to have hot flashes before my wife.
Yeah, right.
Just saying, be like, babe, I know what it's like. I know what it's like.
Sympathy going on.
Yeah. So yeah, I started the entire time I was reading Harry Potter, and I know the first thing pops in a lot of people's heads are, you haven't read Harry Potter? No, I haven't. Like, I haven't.
Doesn't mean you haven't seen the movies or gone to Harry Potter Land or anything like that, right?
I've watched every single Harry Potter. When we went to Universal for our honeymoon, and we got to do that whole thing. And funny enough story, when we got married, we walked through to we were at like Hogwarts and all that, and all the shops and stuff. Well, you go take the train to the other side of Universal where like Jaws and stuff is. As soon as we walked out, we literally got to walk into Diagon Alley. We were the first wave of people, and it wasn't even open officially because like the Gringotts and stuff wasn't open yet. But we got to walk through all the shops, and we were literally, they're like, hey, come over here, and we're like, huh, what's going on? They're like, no, we're letting people in. And so and it's funny enough, we went through that before I even saw all the movies, and so I had missed one of the movies. And so, anyways, I made sure this past year I watched them all, and so I started reading, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, in my head though, I imagery for when you're reading books, like same thing with like BattleTech books, like you have in your head this image. Maybe you latched on to an actor or actress that and you sort of, or you made up your own.
Or a book cover.
Sure, yeah. But so in my head, when I'm reading this, I'm picturing basically the entire cast of the movies, which isn't a bad thing because it gives you reference. But I'm enjoying it, and it's slightly different. I'm not reading it and watching the movie at the same time, so I don't know like a direct contrast. Maybe that'd be a cool thing to do, but like you can tell slight differences here or there. But overall, I'm enjoying it, and I'm already halfway through the book. They're pretty easy reads. It's not too crazy, and
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
I've been just trying to read a little bit at night before I go to sleep and going from there. But
Cool, man.
what about you? Are you reading anything or watching anything?
I'm in a slump as far as reading a book. I started reading some trade books, for business and stuff like that, and got on a kick on some of those for a while. Unfortunately, I've been reading a lot of news lately. I need to find a good book. I
You need
haven't
another
jumped.
outlet, dude.
I know I do. I haven't jumped into a new BattleTech novel. I'm kind of taking a break for a couple months, I think, and try and read something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good books out there. The problem is there's so many I don't know which one to read first.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So
The news.
yeah,
That's what I've been reading.
don't do that.
We don't want to talk about that.
Oh man. So yeah, my plan is Lord of the Rings after the series, and then The Hobbit, and then I think I'm going to dive into
Good choices.
the BattleTech and go chronologically through them. So you pretty much start.
Dude, I've done that so often.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like, again, I'm going all the way, so like that would be including the Dark Age. So
Ooh,
I think
you're gonna brave it.
Yeah. I've heard from multiple people it does get better. So there's that.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of books until the Dark Age anyway, though, so you've got a lot of reading to do.
Yeah. So that was quite, and then we went up to the mountains this weekend, which
Nice.
it's so refreshing. Like we went up
Isn't
to Asheville. We had an Airbnb with some friends, and it was like a little cabin, and drove down to Asheville, ate some dinner. Have you ever heard of, you've heard of the Biltmore House, right? Biltmore Estate.
Mm-mm.
The Biltmore Estate is
Negative.
the largest house in North America. Like it's
Really?
Yeah, it's it was by
Don't tell Trump that unless he owns it.
no, I don't think he can afford this. It was built by the tycoons back in the day.
Yeah.
I think he was
Like the Rockefellers or something?
Yeah, Vanderbilt or one of those guys.
Yeah.
And it's massive, but it's like $90 a pop for a ticket. But I mean, anyways, we went to like the shop area outside of that, and I'm not joking. I walked into the nicest McDonald's I've ever, like I didn't, like it was weird.
Ooh, fancy.
Like it was, the outside was like the sort of, the hotels and the shops are all sort of that Germanic, I don't know, old school style with like rustic mountains sort of thing. And the McDonald's was like that. I walk in, I'm not shitting you. There's a piano playing in the fucking corner. The thing has gold. The McDonald's has gold ceilings. Right? I mean, it was...
I don't know. That's sounding pretty Trump, dude. That's sounding really Trump, in fact.
I walked in because I was outside. They went in to use the bathroom or whatever. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, all right, I'll walk in to go, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's not a nicer McDonald's in the world. Like, this is insane. And so anyways, that was fun. And then we went to...
Did you get any food there?
No, I should.
I would have been interested. You know how whenever you go to fast food, the pictures, the commercials, all that make the burgers look one way, and then you get them and they're all and they're squished.
I bet you that's where they do the footage at.
I bet they make them really fancy there.
It was crazy. I'm not joking. They had gold ceilings, and it was a big McDonald's too. Like that's
funny, man.
And but it makes sense because it's literally like right like as you come out of the Biltmore Estate. They've got the hotel to the right, and then they have this McDonald's right there. So I mean, like it like I'm pretty sure it's the Vanderbilt or something like that. Anyways, it's huge and it's really cool. So if you guys ever come back out here, actually, you guys should check it out because
I wanted to get up to the mountains anyway. We only explored a very little area of North Carolina. There's a lot to see there.
And Nashville's beautiful. It's a bit south from where like we went to school up in the mountains, but we went to Wicked Weed, which is a brewery. I know when I said that, you were like, is it infused beer? I mean, North Carolina, not yet.
They're just preparing. Their name is ready for it.
It's a great marketing and strategy. I'm just saying. So we hung out there and then we came back and so
nice, man.
it was a nice relaxing weekend, especially after sort of freaking Danielle out on Friday. So she's like, hold on, they're doing what? You're getting what scans? This seems an awful lot for nothing to be going on. I'm like, yeah, they're just making sure there isn't anything going on. I was like, we've been exposed some crazy shit. Like I'd rather them. So.
Preventative's where it's at, man. People were making jokes in chat. Unfortunately, it's not a joke though. That one reason why some people don't go get medical care right away is because they don't want to go bankrupt from medical expenses. And
I actually didn't know, and I had to ask my Marine buddy because I knew we had coverage because I'd been to the VA before and like I was in the system. But I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't know that, like, oh, well, that means if you go and you get these scans, you don't get bills. You're covered. Everything's covered. It's part of the taxes everybody pays. I pay. Everybody pays. And so I didn't know that. So, like, when I'm, that's a part of your thinking, which really is shitty at the fundamental level when you think about it. Like, let's just say this was something bad. And I decided, well, I'll just take a chance because I don't want to go into debt. And anyway, so I didn't know that and now that I do, after I talked to him, he's like, no, man, you go, you're taken care of, you're squared away. Like, so, so that was, yeah. And then not to mention, very fortunate, like the Durham clinic here for veterans. I mean, it was that I had a great experience, but not all the vets get that experience. And,
no, dude. I mean, I've heard too many stories of shitty experiences for vets. And, look, our veterans, the people that go and fight for our freedoms and protect our country, they absolutely, I think it's nonpartisan, at least it should be, and they pretend like it is, that they should be getting, A1 healthcare. Everything should be covered. But I feel like it goes way further. I feel like everybody should be covered. Nobody should be going into, debt for healthcare. We're already all paying taxes for our healthcare, people. It's called your insurance premium. Yeah. So it's because we have a middleman. But anyway.
But that's why, like, now knowing and being going to the ER and stuff, I wonder, like, if you're listening to this and you are a vet and you're maybe a new vet, right? You just got out or whatever. Go to the hospital. It doesn't take long. Actually, just phone call them first and get set up in this system. And what that means is they just do, your name, your social. They do, your initial thing. They assign you to a primary care physician. So like if you get sick or whatever, you go there instead of the hospital. You can go to the ER. It's the same. It's fine. But and they just do an annual checkup. Like if you're in good health, they'll be like, oh, I'll see you in a year. If maybe they're like, hey, you need to get your cholesterol or whatever under control, they'll be like, hey, let's check back in like 6 months or whatever. But if you haven't go and do that. And like, I it's crazy because I've heard, people like not getting treatment soon enough. And it just blows my mind because I'm like, that contradicts the experience I had, but also too is like knowing that if you're a vet and you're in the system, your treatment is free. Like you're not going to owe anything too. So like, it's so important. Like I think if you're in an emergency situation, like if I was up in the mountains and I snapped my leg or whatever, you'd go to the ER and be like, hey, I'm a vet. I'm covered on, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to have to drive literally 4 hours to the VA hospital to get my leg treated. But so anyway.
Enough about healthcare. We're treading a fine line of politics here.
No, it's important. This isn't politics as far as like if you were a vet, go get.
I'm about to go there, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, go get squared away because
if you
it is
a
up
vet,
to
go
you,
get squared away.
And you've got the resources there, and you I guess you don't know. Like I didn't have this impending doom or whatever, but there could have been something I could.
Don't be a typical man, and avoid the getting your health care done.
Don't be stubborn. Yeah.
Go to the dentist. You just did the dentist too.
I did. I had the dentist yesterday.
Take care of yourselves.
I'm all good. I'm good.
Yeah,
no cavities.
Good, huh?
Yeah.
No cavities and no cancer. You get another month of freedom.
Okay, I know we were just talking. Does your dentist push like? They're like drug dealers.
No, my dentist is not.
No, Geez,
No,
I'm like, they come in, they're
dude.
like, so do you floss? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, you really need floss. But then they're like, well, have you thought about getting like one of those water picks? Because sometimes flossing doesn't. And I'm just like, wasn't there not a study that was like a few months ago that basically was like, flossing isn't proven to do anything? And then my wife used to floss every single day, every single day. And when she'd go to the dentist, they'd ask, well, do you not floss? And she was like, like, what the hell? Like,
Right.
it's such a, and
You would expect that if you do it every day, they better be saying when you come in there, like, "Oh my gosh, your mouth is
and
beautiful."
yeah, and she has like no cavities. Like she took
Right.
care of her teeth like growing up. I didn't. But I'm like, what is this bullshit? Because I was like, so last time I was in here, you said it was mainly genetic, and then also it has to do with like pH of your mouth, like if you drink a lot of coffee, if you drink a lot of acidic stuff, and blah blah blah. And she was like, well, yeah, but you need to read, like some peer reviewed. And I just wanted to be like,
Yeah. You do the reading. You're the dentist. Dude, my dentist is so simple. Like he doesn't try and upsell me on anything. And then my hygienist, I think I've told you before. Um, she's like this German chick and she's just brutal.
ooh,
She's really good,
like Retta.
but
She just nah.
but she is like it is painful. It's quick, it's quick and it's painful. But I'm totally down with it because I don't want like when you're getting your teeth cleaned when they're doing all the scraping and the measuring of your gums and all. I don't want that to take long. Just do it. Just go right through. Do it. I don't care how painful it is. Like I appreciate that. Most people don't. I like almost like old-fashioned dentists.
I
And
don't know.
and sometimes I think I've talked about this before. I'm feeling like I've talked about it before. But anyway, yeah, I have a good, just simple, small town dentist. And he even doesn't like his own hygienist. He's like, she's mean.
Yeah, no. If I leave and it looks like I was just in a UFC fight, I'm not going
Yeah.
back. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
like you don't need to. It is what it is. Anyways,
Mhm.
all right. So no dental. Let's get off that subject. So I know we had talked about some housing stuff in the past. Just
Yeah.
again, an update for you guys out there. Me and my wife are moving. We're putting our home up for sale January. Yep, January, beginning of January. We just locked down carpet. And yeah, so it's
It's moving forward.
we don't have a ton of time. Like really, I mean, we 2 months, but like, and we don't have a
You're
ton.
you're gonna rent, right?
Well, yes, potentially, or just if we can find something that we actually like. Yeah. So, yeah.
So are you guys looking every day?
Well, we're trying not to like go crazy right now because like it's still 2 months out, and if you find something more often than not, it's not going to be there in 2 months. At least here,
Yep.
the market
Yep.
here is insane.
Dude, here it's a week.
Like
Yeah.
you have to be able to say put an offer to like you see a home, yes, like, and if something came on the market, you better go see it, or you better yeah. So I know there's some people in chat asking, you just moving again. Yeah, so we're
nomads.
Here. We lived in our old home for 3 years. We moved in here and we loved the home. But again, based on sort of like what's going on with her and her career. And so it's just better if we downsize a bit. And she wants, of course, we want to start a family. I should say she wants to start a family. We're going to start a family within the next, like year or something like that.
Are you admitting you don't want to start a family?
No, it's just, it's not like,
You already have a family with your 2 dogs, huh?
I've talked to you about this. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's, you have certain people that are like, yeah, I've always wanted a wife, kid, and blah blah blah. That, and like I'm like, yeah, I've always wanted a BB gun and a dog. I never wanted, like.
What?
My point being is like that wasn't a thing growing up for me.
You shoot dogs with BB guns? What?
No, is that what?
Yeah,
how did
no,
you just hear that?
I know what you're saying. Like, there's people who, like, when they're kids, they're like, I can't wait to be a mom. I'm gonna have as many kids as possible, and they're like that their whole lives. They just know it. They were born to do it. Then there's people on the other end of the spectrum. And they're like, man, I can't stand kids. I don't want to have kids. I'm happy without kids around me. I hate it when kids are in the restaurant or on my plane or on my whatever. And then there's all the area in between.
But yeah, so we've been, keeping an out for, you know, uh, we've been pretty happy, especially with the options that have been popping up, and so we don't think it'll be that difficult finding what we want. But if it is, what we're not going to do is we're not going to get a house just to get a house. We'll just rent whatever we need to in storage, and then go from there. But it's looking pretty promising. I think what we're going to do is the beginning of December start looking, just so we can, because like for those maybe you were listening, you've never bought a house. You've got different types of loans, and one of those is like contingent. What contingent loan is basically it's contingent upon you selling your house and then moving in and finalizing that. So you have to, it's this weird balance of you sell it and then you got to line them, locking down all that. So last time we didn't do a contingent, which was a learning experience for me. But yeah, so we've been pretty, yeah, I think she's ready. She doesn't want to move, obviously, but on the flip side, she understands why. And then also, she's a little antsy about it. Just she wants to get it over with and get that taken care of. But it's crazy because like even if we like even if you have kids, like when do they start going to school? When they're 5? Around 5?
Yeah,
ish, right? So even if we like try and let's just say it happens right away or whatever, who knows? We have friends that are like, you need to start trying now. Obviously based on their, like, it took them forever. I'm like, yeah, my luck could just be like instant, like just like, all right. No.
It was for us. It was instant.
Yeah. So, but where was I going with that? Yeah. So, I mean, even if it's like, are you even going to live in the same house 5 years down the road?
Yeah. It's funny how much things change once you have kids. Like, and it also, I think it depends a lot on your own childhood, how you were brought up, where you were brought up. Like what I keep realizing I keep trying to do with all of our kids is give them the same experience I had growing up. I keep wanting them to experience the same. Basically, I had a really good childhood. I had a great family. I lived in a good place.
Sure.
I felt safe, protected, all that, and have been constantly seeking that for the kids. And then when you move into a place, you're like, well, I don't really want to move because, the kid's comfortable here, friends, that sense of security or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's everything changed for me literally the instant she was born. Even the 9 months of pregnancy or whatever, even though I was excited and things were different, I didn't change until she was born. And then it was just like my whole life changed.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the same would happen for you or wouldn't happen for you. We're all different. And we all, experience things differently or whatever. But literally, the day she was born was the best day of my life, and she's changed my life. And so I hope that if you go forward into that direction, you have as good of an experience.
And I'm sure I will. It's like, again, it just seems very adult.
Mm-hmm. And you don't
like,
want to admit that adulthood. We're still kids, man. Where's our games? Playing games.
Crazy. I don't know. It's anyway. So that's going on. And of course we'll let you guys know. Which there's a bummer because my cool backdrop, I'm gonna have to redo it wherever we go. But I'm sure it'll be all right. And yeah. So yeah, that's happening. So we've been.
So family, kids, houses. Yeah. I haven't made any progress as far as getting us a boat. Although, we're always looking. One thing I did find out recently, a cool series on Amazon is about this old English dude that basically, from what I can tell, he had a bad marriage, bad divorce or something like that. He bought himself a boat and he lives in the English channels. Now, these English channels are everywhere. If you've ever heard of the English channels, they're these channels that go through England and they're like spider webs, and there's just tons of them. They go everywhere. They go up into Scotland. And they're very narrow. And so they've literally created a boat for the channels, which is called a narrow boat. And they're these like super long, super skinny boats. And it's a trend over there, or it's a fad, or it's a growing thing. Just like there's people that are living on boats over here, and it's becoming more of a thing over here. Over there, these narrow boats are becoming a thing, or they have been for a long time, but more and more, it's exploding. People are living on these narrow boats, and they're so trippy, dude. They're really skinny, really long, like 40 feet, 60 feet. And they have these old diesel engines that boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, as they go down the channels, these narrow channels. And anyway, for whatever reason, can't get them over here. They're not practical for where we live, but they're very interesting. It's almost like a trailer on the water. There's even double wides, so
Yeah.
there's these wider narrow boats. But anyway, that's what I've been into the last couple weeks. Been checking out those boats. I think it's really cool. I just
Are you thinking about going to England now?
Dude,
Yeah.
Rebecca and I talked about it. Like, would you do it? Yeah, we would, but it's not practical at all. But the chance to see a different country and different scenery and all that stuff, I feel like we're pretty nomadic. We've moved a lot of times since
Yeah.
I've been with Rebecca for 18, 19 years. We have moved, I don't know, at least 6 times, if not more, probably 7, 8 times. So we're okay with moving. We're pretty okay with uprooting and going to a whole new place or whatever, and the adventure or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas other people, I know people that can't even, they've been in the same place for 40 years, 30 years, whatever, can't think of moving, would never move. Nothing's better or worse, obviously. It's whatever floats your boat. But, you know, um, we love the idea of being nomadic if we want to or need to.
Yeah.
Get a
See,
van hippie.
yeah. See, and then I was on the sort of other. I moved a lot too growing up, and like that's depending if you're used to it or not. But that was really rough on me. Like, I was in 3 different middle schools, 2 high schools.
I think it's when you're moving makes a huge difference. Like, we tried not to uproot the kids when they're going through high
Yeah.
school, which we didn't.
Yeah.
Both of our older kids, all same high school.
Yeah.
So there's times when you certainly don't want to move.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucked, like having to every single time all your friends, oh poof, oh make
Yeah.
new friends, poof, and then like
Yep.
yeah. So that's no bueno. Yeah.
No bueno at all.
Yeah.
But other than that, not a lot of boat action. We're planning with our friends that took us out cruising a while back. We're planning a 2-day cruise sometime in the near future to go check out a boat up in Friday Harbor. So yeah, maybe I'll have some more boat news, but that's it for now.
Are you watching anything? Is there any shows right now or movies? I know we talked about the Star Wars.
Yeah, I
stuff.
feel like I'm waiting. We watched a few.
You know what comes
shows.
out?
What?
Are you gonna get Disney for Mandalorian?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the Mandalorian is what I'm looking forward to the most right now.
Yeah.
As far as what's on the horizon, it just looks the most interesting to me. I love the fact that it's adult and dirty and gritty, and
See, I don't know anything.
I think it's gonna be good.
Like, who is like what is a Mandalorian and a type of bounty hunter? Is it just the name
It's
of that particular one? Is it?
I don't want to say it's a race, but it's basically the people that look like they're like a bounty hunter community, I guess. People will in chat will know better than me, but basically that's where Boba Fett came from, and that's his people, and I guess they're mostly bounty hunters, or
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a group of people, so a community. They're humans, but it's a community that lives a certain way, and they're very, they fit in with the whole bounty hunter lifestyle. But basically, I think it's going to be the best. It's going to be like up there with Rogue One as far as the Disney stuff that's, the Star Wars stuff that's been coming.
Yeah, from what I've heard and people talking, I guess because they
Bill
do
Burr's in
pre-screenings.
it, dude.
Yeah, apparently, from what I'm hearing, it might be the best thing Star Wars has had, and especially
I feel like
the
it's going
potential of it as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I think this goes back to sort of Rogue One, where I still think Rogue One, in my opinion, as far as like a thematic experience, going and watching the characters, the scenes, the entire thing, like you get the reason I feel it too is it's so cool is you get to see part of the universe that's not just the Jedi and the Sith and blah blah blah, and same thing with like even Solo. I actually really like Solo just from that. Like you got to experience the universe more and like see the fighting on the ground, or that's something like you don't really see, is like the nitty and gritty aspect of it, and the adult sort of theme of it.
When the new Star Wars from Disney first started coming out, I think I jumped on the bandwagon of being an upset Star Wars fan. Like the whole "what are you doing to my childhood" thing. But then it wasn't long after where I stepped back a little bit and I said, you know what? I had my childhood. I had my Star Wars childhood. Episodes 4, 5, and 6. That was my childhood. I love those movies. I will always love those movies. And so then I realized, you know what? I don't care. Not like they can do whatever they want to with them, but I just wasn't as invested in, oh my God, they're making something Star Wars. First of all, I didn't like the prequels. So I was already kind of prepared for Star Wars stuff I didn't like. I mean,
you yes, and a lot of people though.
There's certain things in the prequels that were okay, but in general, I didn't like the prequels, and so I was already kind of like disappointed by Star Wars, but even more realizing, you know what, I had my time. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, they're awesome. I'm okay. When I kind of was okay with it, that's when I started enjoying the new Star Wars stuff a little bit more. Not saying they're ever going to take the place of 4, 5, and 6 for me or anything like that, but there's some good stuff there to take out of it. Rogue One, certainly. Solo, I enjoyed, even though, I did have a hard time because Solo to me is Harrison Ford, but I got over it and enjoyed it for what it was. And I think The Mandalorian is going to be the same way. But I'm ready to just enjoy it.
But maybe that's also a part of success for like Rogue One and these other new things, is you're not attached to anything, any characters. Like it's not attached to an actor or even Rogue One, Darth Vader can be played by any, what I'm saying?
Dude, I typically like Star Wars better when they're not using big name actors. I don't like it when they put a big name actor in there just why they do it? Because, hey, JJ, you're my buddy. Put me in your Star Wars movie, whatever.
What I guess what I'm saying is like, you don't have any strings attached or expectations or preconceived notions based on that character in a previous movie or whatever that you can roll in. And that's, I go into that a lot too with a lot of the movies, and I don't really know anything about Mandalorians. Apparently people in chat were saying you don't watch the animated series. I do not. Sorry. I also don't read any books, which I've heard is a weird spot too, because when Disney bought, they pretty much went back and
they're still good books. So there were a lot of really good Star Wars novels worth reading if you're looking for something to read. I mean, I think overall, because I was around during the original Star Wars, and so people of my generation, it could be easy, I think, for them to go, it's my Star Wars. Like if you're making new Star Wars, it's got to be my Star Wars because I was around during the original, so it's mine.
You know what I want to say to that?
They're not making them for me anymore, man. And that's the thing I got to get over is, if they're making movies, these Star Wars movies to target me, they're making a mistake, because I'm not the big money spending audience anymore. They've got to make money on their huge investment. They've got to appeal to a different audience. And I don't necessarily always jive with the newest, youngest audiences.
What would that look like anyways? Because like, I feel like
I don't know.
Yeah. With you guys in the original movies, it was a different experience for me watching them even as a kid than it was for you, because for me, I had seen other movies that were amazing as well. I'd seen, you know what I'm saying? Like your Star Wars was,
I was 7 years
altering
old in the theater, like when it came out. And I remember, dude, we've probably talked about this before, so anybody that's heard me rehash this, I'm sorry that I'm doing it again. But basically, when it came out, the theater first of all, it came out, you knew it was out there, but all of a sudden this wave of people talking about it started happening and word of mouth and exploded. And then all of a sudden the theater, every night there was, lines around blocks for this. Every night it sold out. It was totally, it was absolutely freaking life changing for me. Like life changing.
But that's, I guess that's what I'm saying.
But these can't be that for me anymore.
Well, exactly. But also too is like, one, the original cast, not all of them are even alive. So what would be a new, like, in all honesty, I think the shooting and cinematography has improved exponentially since the originals as well. And even if you're very critical of even in the originals, they weren't the miracle, I mean, they're great, but I mean, there are some issues there. So I feel like that's the thing is like when when you said that they're not my movies, I want to be like, okay, boomer, sort of thing. Like, okay, old guy.
Dude.
Right. But
I'm getting tired of the boomer stuff. I'm not a boomer, but I get tired of things that trend.
But
yeah, it's
my point being is like, what would a Star Wars for your generation even look like? And the people that get stubborn and dig their heels in like, oh, the originals, all these new ones are, and I just feel like it's the same thing.
That's a very good question, because I don't think that they could make anything that would make everybody happy. I think no matter what, everybody would be pissed. And like you're saying, what would they do if they were trying to make me, an original Star Wars viewer, happy? What would they do? Just rehash them, do the same exact thing, put the old actors in there even though they're too old? But like there's no easy answer.
Well,
I think the easy answer is it's got to be good. It's just got to be good. No Jar Jar Binks and but whatever. But it's not. It's not movies like this and movies in general. It's not math. It's not just X plus Y equals Z or whatever.
Yeah.
It's lightning in a bottle. The original Star Wars trilogy was freaking lightning in a bottle. It was a cheap movie. Everybody thought it was going to be shit. The actors that acted on the first original one thought it was a joke, that this movie was going to do terribly. There was no knowing that what was going to happen happened. It was a moment in time. It was just
setting expectations too is like what obviously I think they learned from the prequels. I think the whole Jar Jar thing, if you just remove Jar Jar, I think for them there was other issues, of course, but that was a big thorn, and they learned, and I've been enjoying the new films. The only thing I would say about Mandalorian, the thing what sucks is now it's going to be another service that I have to pay for, man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Sheesh, man.
I know, but I mean, like, I already kind of got over that. I was angry at first. I know I'm going to get it. So because of the Mandalorian,
I mean, it's not expensive, but that being said,
but you add them all up, right?
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is I have PlayStation View, so we canceled cable because you have cable package plus internet, 120, 104, whatever, 150. Some people are paying $200. Well, PlayStation View, I don't know if you guys know this. I got an email. They're shutting down their services at the end of this year. So PlayStation View's gone. So, now I'm looking at it as like, and reason, anyways, I have it for soccer and stuff like that. Well, so now it's like, well, we have Netflix. We already have Amazon. So if you just do the math, like even Amazon, even if it's like $100 a year or whatever, 120, you're still paying like $10 a month. That, Netflix is not $7.99 anymore. It's $12.90 or $13 plus your internet.
The two we're always going to do, I feel like, unless things change, is Netflix and Amazon. There's consistently good stuff coming out on both of those platforms. They could change though. In a year, that could change.
And they don't have ads. At least Amazon sort of plays an ad at the very beginning, but then that's it. Yeah.
But usually it's just for other Amazon shows or whatever. But we did recently get Hulu, but it's just temporary. We're going to cancel that after a month. I think that's one thing we do is we always have Netflix. We always have Amazon. The other ones come and go depending on what shows are available or if there's something we want to watch.
I just, it's one of those where it's like, I feel like cable cutting and the idea was sound, but I feel like we've unleashed something that in the long run...
Well, look what Mark Aurelius just said, which is totally true. Pretty soon there'll be some package that you can get that will include Amazon and Netflix and Disney. And then how is that different from cable?
I think so. You're talking about leverage per se, right? The idea that like package deals, like if all those things would be X amount, blah, blah, blah. Like the issue with cable is that you'd have 1,200 freaking channels and you'd watch, let's just say
10 of them or something.
10, right? Yeah. Discovery Channel, Comedy Central.
Well, dude, do you already have that issue? Like I have that issue now, is that there's so many shows coming out all the time. I'm I feel like I'm years behind.
Yeah.
I always see on my phone, because I'm always looking at iPhone news, the news feed or whatever. There's constantly articles, the top 10 horror movies that or shows you've missed this month, or the top 10 adventure shows you've missed this month. And every month there's a new articles like that. It could be about Netflix, it could be about Amazon or whatever, but there's always things that I'm missing, and a lot of them are really good.
Yeah.
You go, okay, I'll try that one. What the heck? I'll try. Oh my gosh,
you know
why
what
didn't I know about this? Because there's a million fucking shows coming out every day.
You know what runs in parallel with the exact same? You could take exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Games.
Oh, well,
right?
Obviously,
like that. It's parallel. Like
oh yeah.
You just mentioned a few days ago, Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PC, right? Right. So I'm assuming you've been playing the shit out of that, right? So I guess
my character pretty much looks like I do right now.
Yeah. So
minus the glasses.
Going to, I feel like that's the issue, is like it's good idea, but then as soon as companies realize that they're going to get their piece of the pie, and they know you're going to get their piece of the pie, and you're going to pay whatever they want for the piece of pie. And the good news is, with at least Disney, is it's $6.99. Like, that's nothing. Like, okay. And you know that's probably really not going to go up. Why? Because they know that you're going to keep that $6.99, because one, how many movies they're going to, Marvel, all the Marvel, I mean, there's stuff on Netflix. I wouldn't be surprised if that shit disappears, and is all because, all this going in, that it was all part of the contract. Unless there was something in stipulation before Disney came in, all that stuff is going to Disney.
Sure.
We're all still waiting to know about like what's going to happen to, like, have they explained, like, are they going to have like adult, like where you can, like, sort of like Netflix where you can set up kids and it only shows kid stuff? Because Daredevil.
I can only imagine that they're going to, because even The Mandalorian is basically supposed to be R-rated, I believe.
So, and I'm glad they're doing that though. Hopefully, but I saw a funny meme, and it had, I think it was like a South Park thing where it was like Mickey Mouse was walking by, and it was like, huh, what is that? They're like South Park. They're like, oh, do we own that?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Oh my God. They own so much.
They own everything.
So yeah, I just feel like that's in a weird place as far as like streaming, and I think I don't know. Like, I mean, this is what I was going to bring up. One service that we haven't talked about, YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I did subscribe to the YouTube Premium service for the return of the Karate Kid series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for season 1. I don't know. I guess season 2 came out. I haven't watched season 2 yet, or started season 2, but I did get the premium service to check. And the first season of the Karate Kid Returns, or whatever the hell it's called, was actually pretty good.
Isn't it Cobra Kai or whatever?
Cobra Kai, yeah. So that was actually pretty good, and I enjoyed that. The problem is with YouTube, and why I'm not paying for it still, is because to me there's just not enough. Like, it hasn't lured me in, basically, and made me feel like there's enough there for me to want to get it on top of the other stuff I already have.
Yeah, someone's saying Cobra Kai is amazing. And
it's pretty good.
And I think really what you have to do is, like, I know Amazon has a lot of good stuff per se, but like when I want to watch a movie, I go to Netflix first. Like,
well, you have the Fire Stick, don't you? Just say the movie, and then it shows where it's available, and you can see if you have it for free or whatever.
You can do that too. I mean, but like, I don't know, just
Harry Potter, and then you can see all where it's.
It's frustrating too, because like sometimes it's like, oh well, you have to rent it or pay for it. I'm like, well, I ain't doing that shit. Like, I'm just like,
dude, I rent a movie for $2.99 or $3.99 without even thinking twice. You think about going to the freaking movies, dude. Even if you can get tickets for $10 a pop, which I don't know if they do that anymore at movies, but between the tickets and the food, a $20 Coke
But you could probably go to Walmart and buy the physical DVD copy and have a digital.
What's a DVD?
Well, here's the thing. We share a Vudu account with friends.
Yeah.
And do you know what Vudu is?
Like Hulu, right?
No, Voodoo is
Oh,
it's where
Hoodoo,
you
Voodoo, you do?
yeah, Voodoo, it's where you know the digital like copies you get? You plug those
Blame it
in.
on the babe. Yeah,
So, yeah, so like we have a whole database of movies that
nice.
so anyways, like I don't know, you'll get whatever, Thor Ragnarok or whatever, and it'll have the digital copy and it has a code and you plug that code in and boom, it's now in your profile. So like, I don't know, like, there's some things, I still haven't finished, that Amazon, The Boys yet.
Oh, dude,
I
what?
know, I need to.
What?
I know they're
That was
already doing like a
really
season
good.
2. Yeah, I liked it. I just got sidetracked.
They're
Yeah.
saying we better start fucking talking robots or we're gonna get banned
Hold
from
on, what?
Twitch because we're just chatting nonsense. We'll get to the mechs,
This ain't
guys,
nonsense.
momentarily.
You take that back.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how you didn't finish the boys. I had to pace myself because I was watching it with my wife. I would have watched all of them probably
Aren't they doing
one
that
night.
with Disney? They're not apparently I was told this yesterday by my buddy. He said they're not releasing every episode at once. Like they're only going to do it every week.
I do not like that. Binge is the way, man.
I think it's smart by them because you're going to the
Well, of
amount.
course it is because they're going to keep everybody subscribed.
Well,
It's
no,
smart,
it's
but
not
it's
just it's
evil.
the hype. I mean, think about. Oh yeah, it's evil, but the hype, the talk, the speculation that goes on between.
Yeah, like Game of Thrones or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then you got to think of, and then on top of that, during that time frame, you're going to go watch other stuff as well on their service,
Sure.
right?
And they'll get you more. They'll set the hook even more.
What I'm wondering about with Disney Plus, or whatever the hell it's called, is what they're going to do with titles that they took off Netflix, or stopped, like Daredevil, Punisher. Are they going to continue with those actors, or is that ixnayed because it was owned partly by Netflix or whatever? And that would be a real shame because I feel like some of those were on a good track. Some of them weren't, to be fair. But yeah, so speaking of all this in movies, I still feel like a BattleTech. Well, hold on. This isn't gonna go where you think it's gonna go. But you're thinking I'm gonna say movie, but
No, a series by HBO would be great too.
well, of course, yeah. But I'm actually thinking. So in the HBS trailer for Heavy Metal, it's all 2D.
Yeah.
It's all 2D. Like those cinematic scenes they had in the original with in the Regan Reach and all of that. And then the Heavy
Yeah.
Metal where the bay doors are opening, all that is all 2D.
My
It's just
question
animated.
is,
I
will that
want-
appeal to a big audience? I don't feel
I
like it would.
want, I want an animated, and this
It's
is
because you want something so bad that you're willing to accept that. Now, I'm not saying
No,
that
no,
the
no. What I'm
Hairbrained
saying
Schemes
is
2D stuff isn't great. It is.
no. What I'm saying is I think someone needs to take
Yeah,
the
community.
bull by the horns, and when Mech 5 launches,
Yeah.
create a machinima that
We've only been wanting it for
blows us away.
10 years, and we've had little tastes of it from various community members. Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I still would much rather have Netflix or Amazon or somebody just
Yeah, but
take it.
yes
because,
and no, because one, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Two,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like there's people and talented people in the community. And what I mean by this too is this is different than you, because like, perfect example, like Knights of Shadonia. The reason I bring up this is most of their sequences when they're showing the mechs, it's all 3D, right? They're just animating the 3D stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, now you're going to have all those assets in Mech 5 available to do just that. And so someone with talent could use that sort of 2D/3D usage of assets a lot more effectively than it is like hand drawing mechs like running around. Like that just is, that's not going to ever happen. That's just way too much work, right? So I don't know if you were listening and you've got a talent and eye for that type of thing, get knowing Unreal Engine because we need it in our lives, and you are our only hope. Right there.
Help us, Obi-Wan.
Help us, because I don't think anyone Sony is never going to do a thing. They're never going to do. It's never going to happen. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep, we don't know. We've been wanting it forever, and it feels like nothing's going to ever happen. When you talk to any of, Wiseman or anybody about it, it's like, nobody, there's never like a positive, optimistic view of something can happen with it. It seems like it's too embedded in Sony, and they don't give a rip.
No, Pseudo, that was a little bit different. So, for instance, what someone did with MW Assets is they were creating a animated series using the MW assets, but then also marketing it as the next BattleTech animated series. Whereas the difference being here, from a legality standpoint, is MechWarrior 5. 1, 2, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just sort of letting you know how I understand it. 1, you're utilizing Unreal Engine and MechWarrior 5 and all the assets there. So it's, if anything, it's just MechWarrior 5 promotional material, really. That's what it is, or MechWarrior using the Unreal. Someone asked me why not Blender or whatever. You've got all of the Unreal Engine cinematography tools. Everything that you see in the game, you'd be able to utilize in a cinematic sequence and stuff like that. So it's all there for you. It's just you're going to have to know how to use the tools and stuff like that. So instead of ripping it out and going to another 3D program to animation like Blender, you just utilize all the pipelines and stuff that are already there. So yeah. Anyways, someone should do it. But speaking of Battle Mechs, BattleTech, MWO, Mech 5, tabletop, everything. Let's go and dive into that. I know we've been going on for a while here. We've been enjoying Tuesdays, and specifically
we have the Masters Challenge version 2.0.
I feel like every single RJF pilot and comp player has been coming out to Tuesdays. I'm looking at you, RJF. What's up with that? No, it's been really fun. This was week 3. Yeah, week 3. We've been doing it. So next will be a full month. Every Tuesday we do the Masters Challenge, where I fight you guys. Daeron has been the hands behind the scenes, if you will, the magician.
It's actually some of the most exhausting stuff we do because of how many things are involved, but it's also totally fun. It's been a nice addition to our regular streams. I'm looking forward to doing more of it and eventually working some 2v2s in there. But it's nice to get into the Solaris Arena, some different maps, and switch up what we're doing. I've been having fun with it. Yeah. Some mechs released, I think, this week in MWO for C-Bills, MC and C-Bills.
The Dervish.
The Dervish, yep. Well, there's variants for MC. There's the Catapult, Warhammer Marauder, and King Crab as well. And then the Dervish for C-Bills. That happened. I'm just at MWOmercs.com right now, checking out what's going on. I think right now we're in a big.
Yeah, I don't expect it. I mean, guys, the reality of it is the Mech 5 is eating up all the resources. So
they're in what would be considered crunch time, I would say. Yeah, which is they have a hard deadline, which is a month away, just over a month away for the full game release. And that is some of the most intense and high stress pressured time as far as game development. So they are working their asses off.
Well, and Russ did mention marketing material would start kicking off in November. So
yep. So we're anxiously waiting, just like you are.
Yep. Just like you guys. We
don't have anything.
We're waiting. We don't have anything. I wish we could tell you. I wish we could.
We're anxiously waiting.
You.
I wish we could. So, we're hoping to start getting some devs on the podcast. I'm gonna inquire about that for next week, so we'll see if we can get some people on and start talking about it. But other than that, we're still waiting. We're
And
in a
yes,
holding pattern just like you guys are.
speaking of Mech 5, we have 19 days until the demo slash
19 days.
that it's not even called beta anymore.
Tick tock,
19 days to the, and then 33 days until release. That being said, for those that may not know, MechWarrior 5 demo coming out on November 26th. You will be able to stream it. There's no embargo. You can do whatever you want. As far as our understanding, and when Russ was talking about it, it's the skirmish mode. But it's not like the full skirmish mode where you can just play indefinitely as far as all the different things. I'm sure they'll probably lock a few features down. You can't play the campaign, stuff like that. That's not a part of that. That being said, 33 days until release. You know, like there's a lot of angst out there. There's a lot of discussion going on. And just want to let you guys know, again, Daeron and I are in the same boats. We're excited too. And, you know, like on one hand, it would be easy for, me to complain as well. But on the other, I will say this is actually sort of nice, not knowing. Because, like, I know this is going to come... Sometimes when you're on the inside, and like for instance with MWO, when you knew a new mech was coming down, and I couldn't talk about it. I could talk to Daeron about it. Hey Daeron, how cool was that? Or like, hey, this is going on. So for once, I will say it is nice. Not, Daeron and I aren't in the office. We're not a part of the development with Mech 5 or anything like that. So we're waiting impatient, or I'm waiting impatiently just as much as you guys. But I'm also trying to practice, what I've been preaching forever, which is you have to have patience, and sometimes you don't get what you want immediately. So we just have to wait. So yeah, sad panda.
Wait, we're on a holding pattern, but very anxious. I can't wait to be able to play with you guys.
I can't wait to start messing with stuff and figuring out. Anyways,
it's gonna be fun, guys.
Yeah. So all right. So we've got BattleTech from Harebrained Schemes. Obviously, November 21st. We've got the release of Heavy Metal, and again, if you haven't watched that trailer, make sure to do so. I love that sort of.
Yeah, me too, man.
Thematic.
Do you have a link to it? Can we drop it in chat?
Yes, actually, I literally have it pulled up right here. I can't.
There you go.
Bam. There you go. It's really cool. I will say I feel like scale is getting out of control. They make the mechs look like they're massive. Anyways,
What's massive?
Just the mechs, like that first shot at like 10 seconds with the Annihilator.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many stories is that? 20? I don't know.
20 stories? No.
Oh no. Oh yeah, dude. Look at the humans next to the foot. They're
yeah, but that doesn't
ankle.
that can't be.
I'm just saying they're freaking massive. Anyways, there's some pretty cool parts. And with that being said, we've got a lot of the unseen mechs coming our way. And then with that as well, it's sort of surprising. I don't know why they released that image of the Warhammer without the weapons on it. So people were very upset on Facebook when we shared that image. They're like, that doesn't even... I mean, I'm talking total nerdage. It was nerd rage. And then they released the Marauder, and so I shared that as well, and everyone was like, oh, that looks a lot better. I'm like, yeah, it's because it has its weapons. I don't know why they released the picture, because it's like where the pods, I don't know, like... But yeah, so a lot of the stuff is coming out. And like this is where I'm actually excited for the game, because they've full mods or not native mod support, obviously. But what I really like is what they're going with. It's almost like quirks for the mechs. Like if you're reading the description of the Marauder, it gets like a bonus and stuff like that. And I feel like this is what we need, that sort of unique attribute that makes that mech like a character, if you will, because when you played the game, it because of the mechanics, you shoehorn certain mechs and certain builds, and if it can't do that, then there was just a better of something that could do it. And anyways, I like the direction they're going in. I'm excited to play heavy metal because I haven't played in a while. That being said, it's going to be interesting how they take it and where they take it. And I enjoyed playing Rogue Tech, but I felt like some of the stuff was too extreme, and I didn't like some of the attributes that were and mods that were introduced. Where I liked some of the others. So anyways, I feel like that's something that we could definitely maybe make a day of, maybe
I'm down with the heavy metal.
Thursday nights or Thursday afternoons or something where we do a playthrough. And obviously when this game comes out, we'll be streaming it as well. So yeah.
We used to do head-to-heads in that game too.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember you and I? I think we did what, two matches or something like that.
Yeah. I think we were tied 1-1, weren't we? I think
maybe it's time to break the tie.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago.
Right, that was a long time ago. All right, so the heavy metal stuff again, and the Warhammer Marauder artwork, which is really cool, and that's free too, by the way. You don't have to buy that. That is just with the base game. All right, Catalyst with Tabletop, the Kickstarter update. We had the Inner Sphere Command Lance. Info was released, and that was pictures of the Marauder, the Archer, the Valkyrie, and Stinger, which, for me, there's some sweet and soft spots there, because in the novels, the Stinger and Valkyrie and Archer, I mean, of course, the Marauder and Archer, but for me, like, some of the light mechs just, they never really saw the light of day in up until recent, but in the novels they were everywhere. I mean, it was.
Well, that's because in the novels, yeah, absolutely, they play a huge part. Lights, mediums, everything plays a huge part in the novels because it's a story, so they can make them use their strengths and their weaknesses or whatever a lot better in a story. Whereas in a video game, it can be a lot more challenging.
And in the novels, we didn't have game balance to have to worry about. So like when you read the novels, those light mechs that only had one medium laser, they were pulling the trigger just like boom, 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 because then the heat would rise. Well, you could do that in a game, but obviously balance wise. So like I've always pictured like a Locust or Stinger being very, very deadly if you just left it to its own devices.
If it was being highly maneuverable, using cover,
Yeah, and you're not talking these things again. The reason I talked about scale with that Annihilator is like you read in the novels, like mechs weren't that big, like they weren't that massively large. Like it talks about them maneuvering through the streets and like coming around a corner and like skidding while they're taking a turn and trouble. You're in trouble.
Thank you for your support, Trouble.
And
yeah.
So anyways,
something else that they expressed in the novels very well was if you were in a light mech and and all of a sudden you come face to face with an assault, it's like, oh my God, like it was like looking at that.
Well, it's the idea of like having one medium laser and being able to just do. Well, now it's it's an assault mech that has a whole shit ton of stuff, and it's got 120 millimeter, autocannons that are just like, again, in my head and what, and so, yeah, like one, I also like the designs, that, for the Stinger and the Valkyrie.
Oh, dude,
I like the designs. Good. Yeah, they look good. Yeah. Again, very MWO-esque, the sort of art style that Alec sort of sculpted, but also just all shimmering sword. Anthony, again, me and you had worked with him for a while with commissioning artwork and stuff like that. And
Shimmy's good, man.
Yeah. It's good. So
we know the best mech artists in the world.
Well,
that's pretty cool.
BattleTech artists, definitely. But
those are fighting words. What mechs are better than BattleTech mechs? What are you saying?
No, I'm just saying mech. There are some pretty amazing mecha artists out there.
Yeah, but BattleTech mechs are the best mechs in the world, and we know the best BattleTech mech artists.
I'm not getting in an argument with you there, sir. Like that's You need to back away from
No Gundam talk here, man.
right. But speaking of which, I've heard that I need to watch, and I think I've mentioned this a few times. It's on Hulu.
Hulu.
But it has to do with what is it, like MS something? I think it's a Gundam, but it's like the everyday Joe Schmo. It's like you just being like a tanker sort of idea, like a line unit sort of thing. It doesn't have to do with like the spectacular Gundams that fly and have all the crazy shenanigans. 08 MS Team Gundam. Yeah, I've heard I need to watch that. So, and it would put stuff in perspective. But yeah, like we're waiting with bated breath as well. We're looking forward to seeing what's coming out this month with marketing, and
it's a good series to watch.
what's that?
And speaking of YouTube, it's the old, what is it? Something Joe. Certain mechs like the Griffin came from that. And,
The Dugram?
Dugram. Yeah. Why did I say Joe?
I don't know.
Anyway, Dugram is on YouTube. You can find the full series on YouTube, and it's a trip. I barely remember those cartoons, but man, it has a lot of the cool Dugram mechs on them.
Yeah.
So it's worth checking out. It's a pretty good series.
It's the same thing, like your imagination when reading the novels and sort of what's depicted in the novels. It's when the Great Death Legion is on Verthandi, whatever, the second novel.
Yeah.
They're in the jungle and they're on the beach, right? Crash dropship. And the rifleman's like, steps out and he's just like, going at the sky or whatever. And like, to me, what in my head, what I picture and what's sort of described is sort of like the AA guns. You see that we have modern day AA guns, and you just see the stream of tracers and, it's tracking across.
Yep.
Like, in my head, that's what's going on. And I feel like capturing that, is always going to be very difficult. But time. It's a cool time to be a BattleTech fan. Obviously, we've got new tabletop material. We've got a new material coming out for BattleTech by HBS. And also, too, what's intriguing with that is I think they're going to continue. Like, at first, I thought maybe what they might do is they would skip ahead and it'd be like BattleTech 2. And they would do like a clan invasion or something, but it would be a different product. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're doing DLC that it's like separate add-on campaigns that you can run, because with them saying, hey, we're going to add native mod support, you then say, well, then why would we as fans, like we can already get the clan, like, and they're doing we talked about this, a Dragoons. They're introducing the Dragoons to the player-esque. We don't, on a mini campaign or whatever. I feel like that's where they're taking it. And what's really cool with that is, again, it allows us, the players, to not have to, you can just buy the DLC, very much like Paradox and what you do with like City Skylines and so forth. So
and
really cool.
what's also, that's a possibility for Mech 5, obviously, right? Like, they could be doing DLC for as long as it continues to be popular. I hope to see the exact same thing. I just want to see regular releases coming out for Mech 5.
And I don't know, and this isn't insiders, but another thing to think about, and I think I've seen this with City Skylines, is I think they're partnering up. Like, there's many DLCs that are like $4.99 that I think people are making, and they're sharing the profit with that said. I think that's what's going on, because like I just saw some earlier, and I'm like, it didn't have created by Paradox. It was like created by a username, but it was being sold. So then I'm thinking,
interesting.
Yeah, and so then that pops in my head. Is that something that could happen?
That'd be nice
with Mech 5 to, I don't know. Like, again, and even if let's just say there's like an amazing mod team out there that is going to just creates some awesome stuff, campaign, story.
Well, let's say the Living Legends team comes in and just like nails something.
I don't think there's anything wrong with them having like a patron as well too. Yeah. So like that's potentially where people can help support, like, so anyways, I'm looking forward to modding myself.
Yeah, man.
And
I'm looking forward to playing the mods.
Every single day I'm like, one less day.
Yep.
But here's the kicker, guys. I got to be very real with you. On the release of the 26th of the demo, I will be here and I will be streaming my guts out. That being said, I go on vacation the next day. So
yeah,
Daeron,
that is getting towards holiday time, so I'll be taking over and streaming that week.
Just be nice to him. Remember, he's a little bit older. Give him a little bit of time.
I'm coming out of retirement.
I'm going to come back and you're going to be kicking my ass.
I know,
That's what's
right?
going to happen. You're going to be like, I got a week on you.
Yeah, that's totally going to happen.
Yeah. You know what's cool with this too? I know we need to wrap up, but another factor too is like the VR aspect. I'm wondering, with Father Bill, he does Elite Dangerous, yeah. And I'm really intrigued because with this being a PvE and slowing it down, and I'm wondering how much I don't know. That'll be an interesting scene if there's any like crossover there. And
in DDO,
I know we talked about maybe making like a mech pit and stuff like that and blah blah blah. But yeah, just obviously with us moving, I don't know what's going on. So I'll let you guys know.
We'll see.
But anyways,
lots
guys,
of things on the horizon, and it's going to be a busy couple of months for sure.
Thanks for letting us talk about ER visits and dental and then movies and Star Wars and mechs and just being able to talk about our real life. We appreciate it. Speaking of which, if you're watching on YouTube and you enjoy our content, make sure to click that like button. It helps the algorithm and all that. Find us and find other people that may like it. If you're new to the channel, of course, consider becoming a subscriber on YouTube. And also, if you're watching us on Twitch here and our chat, consider becoming a sub. It really does help. There's different tiers for everyone. And of course, I just want to say thank you again for considering it. Thank you to a few of you guys, Chiun for that resub, Nyrix with that resub as well. I feel like I'm missing Troublesome, creating trouble again. Thank you for the bits, sir. You crazy bastard.
He just needed to take away that number 1 spot because some mech was number 1 for a couple days.
Is that what it was? Oh, God forbid someone else is on front,
Thank you guys for the support.
Speaking of support, again, consider becoming a sub. We've got a Patreon. Make sure to check that out. Merchandise store. And of course, a big one. And I'm going to drop this link in chat. Guys, if you shop on Amazon, we've got a ton of stuff. Black Friday's coming up. They're already doing... You know what's weird, by the way? Veterans Day deals. I feel weird when I hear that. It's like marketing.
It's commercializing something that shouldn't be commercialized.
Anyways, sorry, I digress. I'm going to go drop a link in chat. If you're going to be upgrading your gaming system, maybe you're upgrading Horizon, maybe you're getting a new GPU case, maybe you want a new blanket or some dog toys, whatever it is. We've got an Amazon affiliate link. If you guys buy stuff through it, yes, we get kickbacks, doesn't add anything to your cost, doesn't give us any personal information. Link is in chat. If you guys do any shopping for your business or whatever, hey, help some mech bros out and use the thing, and go forth and shop
and prosper. All right, be sure to check out our website at NoGutsNoGalaxy.net. Check us out on Twitch at NGNGTV, YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV, Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy, Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcast, SoundCloud at NoGutsNoGalaxy, and for all the latest and greatest in mech porn t-shirts and mugs, be sure to check us out at NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com.
This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mech Warriors. God, I'm so proud of you. You're like...
It only took 10 years.
Oh, man. It's worth it.
Cheers. We're going to raid Cyclone.